this is Nayalla. Thank you so much for joining me again today. So, what I would like to do today is really just share a little bit more of my backstory, especially leading up until, well, the point of where I'm at right now, actually. So, if we go back to last year was a very good year for me. It really brought forward a lot for me to work on a personal level, but also really highlighted how far I had come and what a good place I was in personally. It also, unfortunately, very much highlighted that I was no longer a vibrational match for the environment where I was at. You see, when I moved into that place, I was coming from a place of homelessness, and the first time when I became homeless was a very different situation to where I'm at now, which I will explain. So, I was dealing with very severe anxiety. I was having panic attacks very regularly. I was also coming out of a very toxic relationship, which I do take responsibility for, because had I been in a better place, had I been where I am right now, I would not have got into that situation. But that's where I was at, so I can't really do much about it now. But the toxic relationship, it really chipped away at my confidence, which was already, pretty low, my self-esteem, my self-worth, and it also put a huge wedge between me and my family as well, and friends. So I became very, very isolated. I was dealing with a lot on my own. I was also going through a very huge spiritual awakening as well. I was channeling in a lot of information, which I didn't fully understand at that time. I was also understanding that I was transmuting a lot of energy and healing that I did understand. Like I said, I felt very alone, very isolated. I was dealing with a lot, and when it came to the crunch, really, to the point where I did find myself homeless, I had a bag with a few possessions, and I was faced with the daunting task of sleeping on the streets. And I basically found this church graveyard that was very quiet, and I didn't know what to do, whether to hide out there for the night and see what happened. For anybody that knows Scotland, you'll know that most nights it gets very, very cold, especially during the winter months, which is when this was. So I was very afraid, and obviously I was dealing with anxiety, so there was all kinds of scenarios running through my head, and I didn't know what to do. So I actually called the police, and the police actually managed to find me a spot in a homeless shelter, which I'm very, very thankful for. When I was in that homeless shelter, I found out that I was pregnant. I was having suicidal thoughts at that time as well. So to find out I was pregnant, it just gave me a whole new lease of life. I decided to make a clean break from the relationship that I was coming out of. That person made it very, very clear that they did not want to be a father. They did not want anything to do with this child. Obviously, because that relationship had driven a wedge between me and my family. I just felt I had nothing, and I had no one, and I made the decision to leave that area and to be closer to my mum, so leaving Scotland to come to England. And obviously I stayed with my mum for a little while, and then after my daughter was born, we decided that we wanted our own. Well, I decided that I wanted us to have our own space. So moving into the flat where I was up until last year, it felt like a mansion. It felt like a £1 million mansion, because it was our space. It was a roof over my head, and that was the main priority for me, was to have a roof over our head. Now, as I started healing, as I became a lot more confident in myself, as my self-worth grew, as I really, understood just how low I had got, it became more and more obvious that flat, it wasn't the best environment for us. I mean, during the summer, as many of you know, I'm out a lot, so it wasn't really a big deal. But as we came towards the winter months, as time went on, there was a lot of issues. There was slugs that would come into the house and crawl in the bathroom and in the kitchen, on the kitchen surfaces. There was mould in the winter months. It was very, very drafty, so it was very hard to keep warm in the winter months. It was very dark and dingy. There was rainwater that used to come in my bedroom when it rained heavily, because the frame, the wood was rotten, and it wasn't getting replaced. The floorboards in my daughter's room actually were falling away as well, and her bed actually started disappearing into the floorboards. So for the last 2 years, I've been really trying to set up my own businesses and get us out of that place. Obviously, because I was in a very low place before, I was really hiding. I was hiding away. I was pretty much the hermit. I didn't know anyone, didn't have a social circle. It's just basically me and my daughter, except for when she was at school. But then once she was homeschooled again, it really isolated me. So setting up the business has been very hard for me. And last year I was studying as well to be an EFT practitioner. So I wanted us to get out of that flat. It was my priority, especially last year. One of my goals was to get out of that flat, to not spend another winter in that flat, because it wasn't doing either of us any good. It was a constant reminder to me every day that I got there because of certain choices, but it wasn't where I was at now. But, like I said, I wasn't a vibrational match for that flat anymore. So I had the choice, basically, to either go somewhere else that wasn't a vibrational match. I didn't really have the capital for anywhere decent for us, or to be homeless. Luckily, I've got my mum to fall back on this time again. Obviously in Scotland I didn't have anybody. Here, luckily, I've got my mum close to me. So it's very different circumstances. Now, we left that flat last November, and it actually did knock my confidence quite a lot, and I had to really delve in deep of why it was knocking my confidence, because I am healthier than I've ever been in my entire life. I am more confident than I have ever been in my entire life. I qualified to be an EFT practitioner, and got lots of other qualifications as well, and just started building myself up. So I was like, why is this hitting me so hard? I mean, we've got a roof over our head. My daughter is healthy and happy. I'm healthy and happy. We're safe. What is the issue? And it actually came down to society, what was projected towards me from society, saying that you have to have X, Y, and Z. You have to have a roof over your head that is your own. If you don't, then you're a failure. And that's what was being playing in my mind, that obviously that was a program running, and I had to really remind myself of where I've come from and how far I have come, and what path I am on, and also what kind of person I am, because I'm not a very materialistic person. I'm not somebody who is into brands and, you know, going and getting a certain handbag or pair of shoes. That is not success to me. Having, you know, so many cars outside my house, or even, you know, my own house, you know, although it would be lovely and it would give me security, it is the fact that it would be security rather than, you know, keeping up with the Joneses type of thing. So I had to come back to who I am. My success, where I gauge true success, is on personal achievements. So I have grown so much. I am, like I said, healthier than I have ever been before. I am a better human than I was yesterday. All these things are what I gauge success on. You know, I am showing up every day in a way that I never even thought was possible ever, you know, up until I've actually started doing it. So all these things make me successful to me, and that's really the message that I want to hit home to you today. It doesn't matter where you are at in your life. If you know, your life isn't matching to what society says is successful, then, you know, get that piece of paper, screw it up, that piece of paper that you have to tick all these boxes and say I'm successful, screw it up and throw it away and make your own rules. Because if you are a better person than you was yesterday, it doesn't matter what is going on around you. Like me, you know, it doesn't matter where I am right now. It doesn't matter if I am living in my own home or not living in my own home. It does not take away the fact that I have grown so much and that I am in a better place than I have ever been ever within myself. Doesn't matter what is going on around me to tell me that, you know, nothing's going to take that away from me. And it has actually opened up so much for me as well. So don't let the projections of society tell you if you are a success or not. Go within and you know within yourself if you are a success. You know how far you've come. You know where you've come from and you know where you are going, or at least, you know, you may be on the path of recognizing now where you would like to be. So go on your personal gauge here for success. And I myself, like I said, it's really made me realize that I'm free. You know, I'm free. I can go traveling with my daughter now. There's nothing stopping me. There's nothing keeping me tied down, which is exactly one of my goals for last year as well, was to really experience freedom, and that's really starting to open up to me now. So I fully believed before that the universe had my back because of what happened before when I was homeless. You know, I didn't fully understand it at that time, but the universe had my back. You know, the universe didn't let me sleep on the streets that night. The universe found me somewhere to stay because obviously I was pregnant at the time. Obviously I didn't know that night, but it was looking after me. It was my safety net. And I know now, there's nothing that is making me think otherwise, that the universe has completely got my back right now, that I am on the right path, and I fully trust that everything that is happening now is for a reason. There is a higher purpose for it. So I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm not going to start thinking that I'm being punished or that I've done something wrong, because I know that's not true. I know that's not the case. And for anybody that is, you know, looking down on me and thinking that I am, you know, this, that and the other, and that I'm not a success, then that's fine. You know, you're gauging success on something completely different to what I am. I know that I am successful in my own right, and I will keep showing up daily I will keep sharing my wisdom, and I will keep growing, and I will continue to be a success in my own right. And you will too. And that's what I want to share with you today, is that you are a success. You are enough. You are deserving. And whatever you are hoping to achieve, hold on to that and believe it is possible, because it is. If you keep working on it, if you keep showing up and chipping away and chipping away, you will get somewhere. So don't let anybody else discourage you. Don't let anybody else tell you that you're this, that and the other. You know who you are, and you know how far you've come. So I'm going to leave that with you today. If you would like to support my journey, and if you would like to support this channel, then please like, subscribe, share, maybe join me on Patreon or leave a donation on my PayPal. That would really help me a lot. Have a look at my Etsy shop. If you want to be a coaching client, or you want a reading, then please email me and we'll sort something out there as well. I am going to leave that with you today. I'm sending you all my love. I'm wishing you all the very best, and I hope to see you again very soon. Goodbye for now.